kind of idea in terms of the scope of the school system and the number of people that we're dealing with and some of the elements, some of the things that you consider to be important in terms of letting folks know where the money is going?
It is larger than a lot of people realize. It takes up the whole 500 some odd square mile county. And as I said, we're the 30th, 31st biggest school system in the country. We have over 70,000 students. And the example I like to use there is we have more students in our schools than there are people in Bowling Green.
So with an enrollment of some 70,000, that's from K to...
From pre-K through adults. We, in fact, are obliged to serve students until their 22nd birthday if they want to stay with us. In some cases, special ed and adult ed, we do have students that older, even older.
And all of that makes up more than 70,000 students.
70,000 students and about 9,000 employees, between 4,500 and 5,000 are teachers.
And you've got schools that are... Now, what about the makeup of the high schools and the elementary schools? Is there any kind of general pattern that people should know about when they think about the K through the pre? I think you already mentioned the pre-K folks. And what is the general pattern from there through the comprehensive schools and et cetera?
I really think the most important thing to know about a pattern is that there really isn't one. We have schools that serve grades K through 2. We have some that are K through 6. We've got one that's 5 through 12. You know, in fact, there's an expert at the University of Tennessee whose specialty is measuring the effect of changing schools on kids. You know, when you and I change jobs, your performance suffers a little bit. And this expert said whenever he wants to study a certain grade configuration, he comes to Nashville because whatever he might look for, we've got it. Now that's about to change, and change for the better, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay, very good. And as a matter of fact, quite recently, there was some issue dealing with this whole system, dealing with the teachers, and quite a bit has been said in terms of negotiations. And why don't you explain some of the issues behind that? I mean, how did we come to an impasse where we had to have an outside negotiator and et cetera? And what were some of the issues involved with that from the very, very beginning for those like myself who might not know anything about it and et cetera, that kind of perspective?
So let me say first that by the time this gets on the air, the situation will be settled. As we speak today, it is just about settled. The membership of the union is in the process of voting on it. We have had, for many years, a really lean school system. It's real easy to say that, you know, like you would about any bureaucracy, to accuse us of, you know, sitting up there in fancy offices and spending money on this and that. But in fact, we spend less than 2% of our total budget on central office administration. And the largest part, over 3/4 of our spending, goes directly into the classrooms. Now that includes teacher salaries. We are way behind on maintenance. There is a lot of building we could do and are starting to do. And the reason I bring it up is that when the salary negotiations started this year, there was a big difference between what the school district was offering and what the teachers union was wanting. And as a rule in those situations, if one's here and one's here, you meet someplace in the middle. And it got to a point where we were saying, look, we really and truly can't afford to put out more than X amount of money. And it got pretty ugly. I mean, it got to where people were coming to, you know, disrupting school board meetings, that kind of thing. And, you know, in the last couple of weeks, it's been the first time in a while that I haven't seen awful things about me personally in the union newsletter, which kind of rolls off your back after a while. But there came to be, after 13 months of negotiation, this atmosphere of one side's over here, one side's over there, and you know, this side can't move because the money's not there, and that side won't believe it. And the way to work it out, we thought, was to bring in a third party from the outside. The Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, federal government agency, they have an office up in Louisville, and they sent us a mediator whose job was quite literally to put one set of negotiators in one room and the other set in another room and go back and forth and try and work something out. And it went on for a few days, and it wasn't settled, but you know, he thought it was encouraging enough to come back and try again. So we took a break for the holidays, and it came back for a few more days. And finally, the mediator worked something out that, you know, he was very upfront. He said, this isn't going to please either side, really. But
that's a compromise.
Yeah, it's not going to please either side, but it looks like the best we're going to be able to do. So both sides were able to, if not embrace it, at least accept it. The school board voted to accept it. The leadership of the union voted to accept it. The only step left to take as we speak is going to the individual membership, the union, and polling them. That's going on, and that'll be decided by the time this gets on the air.
And it is believed that this group will probably accept it too.
I certainly hope so.
Okay.
It's gone on too long.
Very good. And of course, we're coming up now, Mr. Owensby, to our first commercial break in about 10 or 12 seconds, and then we'll come back and deal with the second segment of this show and allow you to talk about some other aspects of the district.